growing up, like I would always just like have conversations about relationships and like how kind of like being taught all the things not to do, and like what's the better way or the right way, I think, to like avoid their mistakes, which like it still happens. But anyway, so they would tell me like, yeah, of course, like you need to talk about religion, you need to talk about kids, you need to like, all these like things that could be like very high value for a person. Like these are the things that you have to have in a conversation with them pretty early on, especially if you're like in a serious relationship with someone, because that could be a super big deal breaker for you down the road. But of course, when you're like 18 years old and you're asking your boyfriend that question, it's kind of awkward because you're like, well, are we really talking about for the rest of our life? But then like you want to take your relationship seriously. And so you never know how long it's going to last. And yeah, that's definitely something that's like super important, especially anybody younger that's listening. Like, you always want to have conversations about that kind of stuff from the get-go. Like, I'm not saying like you go on a first date or like your high school boyfriend and you're like, what religion are you? And how do you want to have 5 kids? Like, no, but like that definitely needs to come up if you're like taking someone seriously, because you guys could be like totally different. Or like when you get to that point when you do have kids and like one of you might be Jewish, one of you might be Catholic, which like typically doesn't happen, I don't think, because I know some people are really hardcore with that. But like, if that were to happen, like how do you guys raise your children together? Like those are all the questions you have to ask yourself that become like super weird, because you're like, well, oh no, I want to do Jewish traditions and I don't celebrate Christmas. Another one, well, I want to do Christmas. And then what, like now you're screwed when you're already in it. So not screwed, but like you have to deal with it, right?
If it's to make it or break it. I mean, for me, it's funny because I've always celebrated Christmas with my friends. I would always, I would have Hanukkah and do all that stuff. And then on Christmas, I would go to Cassie's house or Chelsea's house and do, I would just always celebrate everything. So for me, I'm very open-minded in that sense. And I love that my parents were like, yeah, go celebrate Christmas with
That's
them.
the thing though. Yeah. Cool. Your parents allowed you to do that though, which like, I feel like a lot of people will be like, no, like you need to like marry another Jewish girl and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
as I have all my K-pop men behind me. Anyway,